So thanks so much for joining us, Sonny. It's a real privilege to be able to sit here, well, together in this virtual space with you as someone who is now getting ready for a hip replacement and planning for that to be done as a same-day procedure.
Yeah, thank you. Listen, thank you, Axel, for inviting me onto this call. And yes, I'm probably what are we now? The 27th of July. I'm probably about 9 days away, 8 or 9 days away from my total hip replacement operation. Just a brief bit about myself. I found myself in this position probably about a year and a half ago. You know, I started getting symptoms on my left side of my hip, started having severe pain. I went to see my consultant. My consultant then took an MRI and unfortunately diagnosed that I had osteoarthritis, degenerative disease, as he called it, on my left hip. So, you know, again, you know, I was a bit astounded by that. And I thought to myself, you know, 47 years old, this can't be happening to me. This normally happens to someone who's 70 or 75. But we ended up where we are. He told me that really the real solution to it was to at some point get the joint replaced. Because the body unfortunately can't regrow cartilage, and once it's gone, it's gone. So, you know, I had a bone-on-bone condition. So that's how I found myself where I am, and I got put on the waiting list. But then, you know, unexpectedly, probably about a month ago, I got a call from my consultant who offered me a chance to have my total hip replacement done on a day surgery basis. Don't forget, normally it's on an inpatient basis, which normally at least is a day or two stay and monitoring. So, you know, he said, look, you know, why don't you have it done, and I can get it done in probably about 2 or 3 weeks' time. But you will be my subject. So very, very candid discussion. There was no obligation. And he said, look, you know, would you like to be my subject? I have to write a paper on this and put a journal together. And that's how I ended up where I am now. So I came in for the pre-assessment, and I'm about 9 days away.
Yeah. Well, it's very exciting and very good of you to share your experience and you know how it's been, and we'll dig into a little bit more. You know what kind of concerns you've had at this point and what you've found most helpful. And I really think it'll be quite a special thing to put this video together and to share it, make it available so that, you know, the others out there who will be getting ready for a hip replacement, and perhaps in particular those who will be getting ready for the idea of aiming to have it done as a same-day procedure, will find it helpful. Because indeed, with the impact of COVID-19, it's probably something that we're going to see more of. There has been a trend towards doing hip replacements as a same-day procedure, and I think that's going to become more common. So you're certainly in kind of at the spearhead in terms of this project with West Middlesex, but it's also something that's been going on for quite some time, and there's a lot of good evidence for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to answer your question, so my concerns. So if we talk about what my concerns were, so, you know, I think, you know, I considered the offer, and then you know, it took me 2 or 3 days just to mull over it. And really, I went away and thought about what are the sort of top 3 things that I need to be okay with to ensure that this is the right thing for me. Because let's be honest with each other, you know, day surgery for total hip replacement is not going to work for every patient. You know, it depends on your general fitness. It depends on your underlying health conditions. It depends on your age, and all sorts of factors. I mean, it's quite a complicated subject. But, you know, I think to the viewers of the video, you've got to be confident enough that if you get offered total hip replacement on a day surgery basis, you won't be offered it if the clinicians and the doctors don't think that you're the right person.
Yeah, I think that's a point well made, and it goes, you know, as with anything really that we discuss in this video and other videos, you know, everyone's plan will be individual and personalized to them, and there may well be cases where where it isn't appropriate. There are many ways it can be appropriate in different circumstances. But so really here, as ever with these videos, we're casting quite a wide net and we're speaking quite generally. And as ever, if for anyone out there who has any questions or any uncertainties around it, it's your surgeon and your clinical team's plan that's going to be most relevant for you. But hopefully here with this video, we can just shine a bit of a light on some of the touch points, some of the concerns that you've encountered now that you're on this journey and you're 9 days away from your operation.
Yeah, and the great point to mention is that if you do get offered the chance to have total hip replacement on a day surgery, there's a great backstop in place as well. And that backstop really for me was that you do get called to a pre-assessment. Where I had my ECG monitored, I had bloods taken, I had a urine sample, my weight, my height checked, asked about any conditions. So that's kind of a fail-safe backstop, which again just double checks that you are ready for surgery.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's as with any undertaking, it's about the preparation, but also in terms of backstops. While the plan may be for a same-day procedure, if there's any reason for you not to go home on the same day, then of course that's what the team will decide. So
yeah, exactly.
So it's about planning and preparing for something, but then also having a lot of safeties around that.
Yeah, it's all about controlling the clinical risk and making sure you get the right outcome with the surgery. So anyway, I went away and I thought about my 3 key areas. And I would encourage everybody, if you want a framework to work through in terms of what areas you should be asking questions about to your consultants or to your orthopedic team, this may help you. And for me, what worked was just going away and going, okay, the procedure itself, what type of procedure am I going to have?
Yeah.
How is the surgery going to take place? I mean, without getting into too much detail, there's various ways you can perform hip surgery. So ask the questions. If good consultants and a good orthopedic team and a team of doctors, they won't mind you asking questions.
No, of course not.
I mean, this is your body, and it's important to you.
It's very important.
So ask the questions around how your surgery is going to happen, and and what approach your consultant will take.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing, and make sure you understand what you're getting. What type of hip is it? Because there's different types of hips that can different materials. Because then at least when you turn up on the day, mentally you've already prepared yourself in terms of I know what's going to happen and I know how this is going to get performed. I mean, I'm not suggesting you watch it or see it or anything, but exactly. High level what's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're all different in terms of the amount of detail that we each of us will want to know about that, and in terms of how much we want to be able to visualize ahead what's going to happen. But certainly in sort of higher level points of what to cover, I think that's a really good starting point to dig into the actual procedure.
And you're right. I think it's a psychological thing. I mean, there's going to be people out there that just say, look, just do it to me. I don't want to know anything about it. Right? I just want it done.
Yeah. Although I think it's important that everyone is, has a degree of being well informed about the procedure, and of course the idea of informed consent, knowing about the procedure, knowing about what happens, on the day, but also what are the alternatives to that particular treatment, what are the potential complications and risks. And those are things we need to get into in this particular video. And indeed, we'll be doing separate Joint School videos all about each of those topics, in turn, where we can dig into a lot of that. But absolutely, in terms of setting a framework for what one might want to start to consider, or just to kind of help give some structure as one starts to sort of wrap one's head around the idea of having this operation, which is quite a big deal, having a new hip.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was the first thing I came up with. The second category, really, which was important to me, was okay. Well, this thing is going to be done to me. It's obviously going to be, it's going to improve my quality of life, and it should be a great clinical outcome and a success. But while it's being done to me, there will be, a certain threshold of, how much pain am I going to feel, just in layman's terms, and how is that pain going to be controlled? So it's all about the pain management. because you have to be realistic about that, because you are getting to a hip joint, having to go through muscle, and that's just the facts of life. So I mentally I had to accept that, psychologically I had to accept that. But what put me at rest was just understanding what type of anaesthetic would be applied. Now I was under the impression that I would be under general, but what I researched and found out by talking to a few individuals and the team as well at West Mid is that for day cases now, they've done quite a few trials, and not just in West Mid, across other NHS trusts, and they found that actually a better outcome or more controlled clinical risk is to apply a more kind of localized anesthesia.
Like a spinal, rather than being fully knocked out, so to speak, and asleep.
And that's interesting psychologically, because it takes time to get used to the idea that, yes, I'm going into day surgery first, but secondly, and here's the important point, I'm actually going to be awake during the operation. It takes time to get around that idea, because most people want to go in and be knocked out and just wake up and it's done. But just psychologically adjusting mentally to the fact you're going to be awake is a big thing. So I wanted to find out more about the type of anaesthetic, and it is going to be a localized anaesthetic. But obviously, I'll be awake, but the area will be completely numbed. And the idea of that is that actually it wears off quicker. So by the evening, you're up and walking again, and you can feel your legs, and then the physios will come in and do some physio and get you walking again. Which surprised me, by the way, that I would be potentially walking within a few hours of the operation.
It's amazing, really. It's amazing, really. And just another flag for those watching the video now, is just worth mentioning that, of course, there's plenty of good reasons why someone might still have what would be called a general anesthetic and sort of be asleep for the procedure. And in terms of having the spinal where you're awake, there's also different approaches and variations around that. And you may have, in some cases, some people will certainly be having a spinal anesthetic where they're awake, but you could also have some sort of sedation or some medication to help you make you sort of nice and relaxed and sort of, so that you're, should we say, a little bit less awake or alert for the procedure itself. And that's all things that you can discuss individually with your anaesthetist and the wider team, and they will plan that for you.
Yeah, and that's a bit that's been offered to me. So I reserve the right to say, look, can I see how I am on the day? Everything's great now, but as we get closer to the timeline, if I'm a little bit stressed or a little bit panicky on the day, is there something you can give me in terms of a relaxant or something like that? And they said sure. So I'm keeping an open mind to that, and then just see how I am. So that was the second category anyway. And then the third thing really, and this is right up there in terms of something to think about in terms of importance, because you do have a duty of care to yourself to understand these things. And the final category is really around the post-operative care plan for yourself. Because it's important, because you're not going to be admitted, you're not going to be an inpatient, you're going to be going home. In theory, there's always a rollback where you could be admitted if whatever, but the outcome is meant to be that you're going home. So how are you going to take care of yourself? What support and infrastructure is going to be provided around you to just help you? Is there somebody you can call? Is there somebody you can contact? Is there something you can do online? Bear in mind, not everyone's going to have access to online facilities, depending on who you are and where you are and what your level of familiarity is with those tools. And in this COVID environment, you can't just pop into the local physio once a week. At the hospital, you're going to have to do a lot of self physio. Do you understand what's required of yourself? Do you understand? Can you get someone just to show you what physio you should be doing, and you're doing it correctly, so you don't cause more injury? And what things need to happen around your house in terms of occupational therapists advice. How high is your seat? How low is your seat? Going to the toilet, putting your socks on. Get all this stuff done in terms of pre-planning.
Yep, absolutely.
Those are my three things.
I think you're really hitting the nail on the head in terms of how one might want to structure an approach to understanding what's going to happen, set some expectations for the day and the immediate recovery, and then planning to support that, be that in terms of making changes around the house, knowing about the different extra gadgets or tips and things like that. So in that process of preparation and sort of putting both, preparing both mind, body, and home for the journey ahead, so to speak. What have you found most helpful?
So I definitely, so me being me, I've definitely found it helpful to talking to as many people as I can.
Yeah.
Okay. But, I've been very, very controlled with that. And this is the advice I'd give anyone watching this video. With all the respect due to everybody out there, talk to people who are actually informed on the subject. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, if you start talking to every man and his dog, and people are going to say to you, oh, total hip replacement on a day surgery, too risky, too invasive, somebody else going to say, don't get the epidural or spinal block because, I had childbirth and I've still got pains 20 years. I mean, ignore all the advice. I mean, talk to the people who are running the occupational therapy, talk to your consultants, talk to the people who are going to give you pain relief, talk to people, get on forums. I've started an Instagram where quite a few people are now following me that have had previous hip replacements, or they're orthopedic doctors, etc. How's it for you? Yeah, great. It's great having that little community that you can just bounce ideas off. So that's really helped me, just talking. To answer your question, just talking to people and just getting my mind right. The second thing that's really helped me is just focusing on myself and my own body in terms of preparation. Because I think the preparation really comes in two compartments. There's the physical preparation and logistical preparation, but there's also the mental preparation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So on the physical preparation side, what's helped me is, look, I'm 9 or 10 days away. I've been asked to self-isolate because of the COVID environment, 14 days. That, guys, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That is hard. Yeah, self-isolation is hard, but you've got to, but you owe it to yourself, and you owe it to all the people that'll be around you in the team, including your surgeon, because you don't want to put anyone at risk, so you want to do that. So that's something that I've controlled. I've tried to control my diet a little bit, just watch what I eat. Try not to drink too much beer at the weekends or alcohol. Just what I'm trying to say is try and be as fit as possible for the surgery to give yourself the best chance of recovering. So that's helped me on the physical side. I've had the call with the occupational therapist. I've made a list of everything that, and here's the important thing: find out what your trust is going to give you, the hospital is going to give you in terms of equipment, and then find out what you need to get for yourself. Because in theory, you should get everything, but there might be a couple of things which are not funded or not authorized, and you might have to get yourself. So let me give you an example. So I'm going to get, there's a grabber, things I didn't even think about. There's a grabber because I can't bend down once I've had the operation. So there's a stick where if I drop something, I can pick it up. There's going to be, again, something I didn't even think about. I may not be able to bend to sit on the toilet, so there'll be a toilet raise. I need to be stable in the shower, so I'll get a toilet seat. There's a toilet stool, shower stool. Shower stool. So those are the three kind of key things that I will get. The occupational therapist will send you a form. Just measure what height your bed is, what height your chair is, what height your sofa is. And what came out for me was my sofa was a bit too low. So they've told me to put 2 cushions on it every time I sit on it, just to raise the height. So that's helped me. And then the interesting thing is there's something called a sock enabler or something. A sock, I don't know what it's called, a sock.
We're not sponsored system by any of the many companies that do these things, by the way. But there's various sock grabbers or
sock grabber. So that is, for example, that's not provided. So what I've done is just to prepare. I've gone onto Amazon. It was like £6, £5.99. So I ordered myself one of those. Simple things. I haven't got a pair of slipper, moccasin, whatever the anti-slip sole shoes. So again, £10. I've ordered one of those from eBay. That should be arriving. So to answer your question, Axel, those are the kind of physical things I've done. And then the mental side of it is just really, as I said, kind of covers what we talked about before. Just preparing yourself. Try to visualize yourself on the day. Get prepared mentally. You know what's going to happen. There's a process. Accept that this will be potentially the new norm, the new way of working. And it's a great thing. And by the way, even though West Mid, I'm going in there, and this could be, this is going to be one of the pilot cases. It's no means the first in the UK. I think there's been over 2,000 or 3,000 successful.
Oh yeah.
So it's been clinically proven to work, and it's been successfully trialed. So I don't think there's anything to particularly worry about.
No. Well, hey, Sonia, I think that's a fantastic overview. Thank you so much for joining us to put this together.
My pleasure, absolutely.
And when we speak again, you'll be on the road to recovery.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we'll definitely have another video out. I'm documenting this like journal anywhere around. Each day is a bit different, and my post recovery. It'll be interesting to see. With the technique being applied and what's happening to me, how the recovery goes and how quick I get muscle strength back into the legs. I'm going to put certain markers in place. How many weeks before I can, because the other thing I'm doing, I want to mention before I go, is I'm doing 10,000 steps a day at the moment.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
Some days painful, some days not, because every day is different. So by hook or crook, and not everyone's going to be able to do this. So it's not expectation of everyone. For me personally, I get out there and it takes me a good hour or so, but at a very gentle pace. I grab a coffee from somewhere local, and I just sip my coffee and I just go for a gentle walk. I get 10,000 steps in on my tracker, and that works for me. But it'd be good once it's done, set a marker. How quick can I get back to 1,000 steps, 2,000 steps, 5,000 steps, 10,000 steps? Now I'm being realistic. I mean, I was a guy before I had this that I used to do a 5K run 2 or 3 times a week. Now I'm not expecting to go back to that anytime soon. And I don't know, Axel, that might never happen for me, or it may happen. I don't know. Because the other important thing I've been told is once I get the new hip, my job is to try and protect that hip as much as I can in the coming years. Because the hip will only have a finite life of 15 to 20 years. So it's up to me how much I control. That doesn't mean I want to limit my quality of life and stop doing all the activities I enjoy. No, but it's a balance.
It's about finding a balance, listening to your body, listening to your new hip, and that will be, to a degree, that will be something that is as true in the early stages of recovery as further down the line, when hopefully you're kind of even forgotten about it really.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Well, to sign off on this wonderful interview, do you have a short message to your future self, to your post-operative self?
The short message is, look, there's a new dawn around the corner. It's been it's been a painful couple of years, year and a half. It's been very painful at times. It's been quite emotionally difficult. Just the simple joys in life. I've got 2 boys, not being able to play football in the park with them because you're in pain after 5 minutes and they want you to come and play football. So the message to me is, look, there's a dawn around the corner, and there's a quote that I love that the Marines, to sign off, that the Marines always use, which is look, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody's prepared to die. So I'm not saying this is dying, but what I'm saying is, before you see the rainbow, it has to rain. So it's rained for me now. I'm now going to go through the through the process and the pathway for me, and it's going to be a great outcome on the other end. And I have every confidence in the team at West Mid, and I think it's going to be a great success. So don't worry about anything. This will become the new norm, and it's completely fine.
Wonderful. Again, Sonny, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you after your surgery.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Take care now.